Hello, this is Joyce reading the New Bedford Light, the free independent news for March 20th. First story. City hires expert to investigate police narcotics and internal affairs units. Mayor criticizes newspaper series on New Bedford police, but asks FBI to review it. By Anastasia E. Lennon. New Bedford. The city has hired an internal affairs expert to investigate two troubled New Bedford Police Department divisions, but the mayor has not identified the expert nor when he was hired. The units that are under investigation include the Professional Standards Unit, Internal Affairs, which investigates police misconduct and recommends discipline, and the Organized Crime and Intelligence Bureau, OCIB, which handles narcotics cases. The information comes after the Boston Globe reported last week that Police Chief Paul O'Veria has been investigated by the FBI at least 3 times over the last 2 decades, and that city police officers have abused the confidential informant system under his leadership. In his statement, Mayor John Mitchell said the department hired a highly respected internal affairs expert to take a deeper dive. I have directed him to thoroughly review the Boston Globe's reporting so that no area in need of improvement is missed. We will make his findings available to the public. What the Globe found. In its multi-part series, Snitch City, the Boston Globe Spotlight team, which has been investigating the department since as early as 2023 records show, reported on ways police officers, both former and current, abuse the confidential informant system. They trace this to when Alvera worked as a detective in narcotics decades ago. Mitchell posted on Facebook that the series was materially incomplete and criticized how it portrayed New Bedford. He also said he forwarded the series to the FBI. He declined an interview request with The Light through the city's public information officer, who referred to a statement shared on Facebook. The series reported Alvera would work with higher-level drug dealers to arrest smaller dealers, not the direction police are supposed to work. One anecdote alleges Alvera and other officers took tens of thousands of dollars belonging to a drug defendant from a crime scene in 1998, while Alvera reported to the department that the police had only found a little more than $2,000. He worked in the narcotics division in the late 90s to early 2000s. Not everything in the Spotlight series was new information. In 2003, the Standard Times reported a drug defendant made an agreement with federal agents in 1999 to provide information on possible corruption with NBPD, including on claims the defendant made regarding Alvera. Court records reviewed by The Light corroborate this, but nothing came of the inquiry. Another drug defendant decided not to testify against Alvera in the narcotics unit, the Globe reported. He feared having to watch his back for the rest of his life, a risk that comes with being a snitch. The Globe reported that Alvera visited the defendant in 2001 at his holding cell, thanking him for doing the right thing. The Globe also reported that the FBI again inquired about Alvera in 2017 on his history with informants and narcotic cases, and in 2022 regarding the department's trustworthiness on drug investigations. Alvera declined to comment to the news outlet before it published the stories. He also declined an interview request with The Light. The police department called for a For the Record page on its site, where the department criticizes and counters several aspects of the Globe series. It does not contain a statement from Alvera. In response to allegations of FBI investigations, the department said, Chief Alvera is unaware of any investigation, nor has he ever been subpoenaed or requested to participate in an interview. The chief has no knowledge of a formal request by either the FBI or the Department of Justice in this regard. The series also focused on two officers, Jorge Santos and Alexander Paulson. Santos, who earned the name Officer Pills for operating the waterfront like his personal pharmacy, allegedly stealing drugs from fishermen and other residents, resigned in 2020 after the city moved to fire him. A criminal case was opened by the Bristol County District Attorney's Office. Dozens of witnesses were interviewed, and a grand jury heard testimony from a former police officer about Santos' conduct, but no criminal charges resulted. The Light requested an interview with D.A. Thomas Quinn III and asked questions about the grand jury. A spokesperson did not respond to several email requests. Alexander Paulson, who reportedly discussed the identity of a confidential informant to another gang member, is still employed by the department. An internal affairs investigation sustained a violation for releasing sensitive police information that may aid others. Alvera, however, reduced it to a lesser violation of improperly performing or neglecting to perform assigned duties. I am familiar with this case, for I sat in on the interview of Officer Alexander Paulson, and I read Sergeant Lawson's investigative report. When looking at the totality of this case, it shows that Officer Paulson went too far with an admitted good friend, and it has been redacted the name, who has been involved. A redacted name that he asked to set up a meeting with, redacted name. Also involved in criminal activity and known gang member. A police officer that is close enough to a gang member that he can call for a meet with these two unsavory characters and get the meeting is concerning to me. This was excerpts from 2022 Internal Affairs Investigation into Officer Alexander Paulson. Source, New Bedford Police Department. For all the above reasons, and others were listed in Sergeant Lawless's report, I find myself in full agreement with Sergeant Lawson's finding, and I also recommend a finding of sustained against Officer Alexander Paulson for violation of rule and regulation 515.6, improperly performing or negatively to perform the duties assigned, Chief Paulson. Paulson left New Bedford to work for the New Wareham Police Department for less than 1 year. He returned to New Bedford Police in late 2023. The Light contacted Paulson by email for comment, but did not hear back. Response. The mayor's statement on the series, which was shared by NBPD on Facebook, received more than 150 comments, many of them critical of the city and police department. The Light spoke with 6 current or former police department employees, all who've expressed concerns about the troubled department, and all who have spoke on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution. People are shocked, said one police officer. What I'm reading is really boggling my mind, especially with allegations toward Alvera and regarding federal agencies. Another police officer said Alvera is scheduled to issue promotions soon. The chief in his current position shouldn't be making promotions before he walks out the door. A reasonable person would say, let's stabilize things before you start promoting people. Guys want to restore the pride and integrity of this place, he continued. Leadership-wise, I don't know. Jesus would have to come down and straighten it out. Police Union President Officer Lorenzo Gonzalez told The Light that he did not want to comment on the Globe investigation as the full series has not been released. It appears the main series has already been released as online articles, but 2 podcast episodes remain to be released. Gonzalez, who has been union president for a few months, said the union will help or cooperate in any way it can with the FBI. He also gave credit to Alvera. He has always maintained an open-door communication with us with any issues we may have, he said. The 2 of us do work together to try and make things generally better overall for the department, which in turn would make things better for the city. He said he did not know who the internal affairs expert that the mayor announced is or when the department hired him. Mitchell criticized the news outlet's reliance on the account of convicted criminals and other of dubious credibility. However, it is criminals, including at least one interviewed by the Globe, that the department often uses as confidential informants to build narcotic cases, make arrests, seize drugs, and prosecute individuals with the Bristol County District Attorney's Office. These confidential informants feed information to New Bedford narcotics officers that is featured in search warrants written by these officers and given a stamp of approval by district court judges. The reporting also features information from anonymous former and current New Bedford police officers. Mark Rapiso is the only current officer who went on record with full attribution in the Spotlight series, where he shared his serious concerns with misconduct in the department and what he saw as a failure or unwillingness to address it. For the mayor to say the Boston Globe went off the testimony of criminals, Mark Rapiso is not a criminal. Mark Rapiso is a police officer, a patrol officer, told The Light. The patrol officer who also took aim at a 2023 review of the police department's practices, saying it was not only truly independent and is something the city can point out to make the department look good. The mayor and department have cited the many times the report, including in the mayor's statement about the Spotlight series, as a positive example of how the police department is progressing and improving. The city paid the consulting firm Jensen Hughes at least $120,000 to review problem areas and issue recommendations for reform. The city has kept on a consultant since then to help implement changes. The result of the review, released in August 2023, found issues with declining staff levels and sexual harassment. It also criticized the department's systems for handling officer misconduct and said the confidential informant system presents a real danger if it is not closely monitored. In 2024, The Light found the department had adopted some recommended reforms, but not others, including several recommendations on transparency and officer misconduct. They're saying, hey, transparency. And the first thing the chief does is shred records, the patrol officer said. This is in reference to the fact that Alvera successfully filed an application with the state to shred internal affair records, including his own, after he became chief in 2021, the Globe reported. Municipalities are not required to maintain records beyond certain time frames, which are established by records retention law. NBPD correctly noted that the state law allows for the destruction of internal affairs records after 7 years. The department said if an officer was still active and had internal affair cases sustained older than 10 years, the files were not destroyed. However, still a member of the department, Alvera had some of his own files destroyed. NBPD Holly Hooton referred The Light to the department's page on the series, writing, "The chief took no special privilege in the action." Public officials respond to New Bedford police allegations. New Bedford Mayor John Mitchell posted a lengthy statement to the city's Facebook page, which included criticisms that the Boston Globe reinforced dated stereotypes in its depiction of New Bedford. The statement is quoted in part here. "Throughout my tenure in office, I have been committed to ensuring the safety of our residents, thanks in no small part to the effectiveness of our police department. We have delivered on this commitment as violent crime in our city has fallen 58% in the last decade. These gains would not have been possible if we didn't embrace an ethic of constant improvement. In December 2021, we brought in a nationally renowned law enforcement consulting firm, Jensen Hughes, to perform a top-to-bottom assessment of the NBPD. This was not in response to a specific incident or external pressure, but an honest effort to determine how the department could better get at carrying out its core mission. Since it issued its recommendations 2 years ago, Jensen Hughes has remained on board to facilitate its implementation. As the department transitions to new leadership with the previously announced retirement of Chief Alvera, my priority will be to hire a chief who will sustain the public safety gains the city has made, while faithfully maintaining a high standard of professional accountability. That is what our city's residents expect and deserve. City Council President Shane Burgo wrote in an email that he had no comment as the full scope of the situation is still unclear. What I will say is that hard-working men and women of the New Bedford Police Department dedicate themselves every day to keeping our residents safe. Their service and commitment to our community should not go unrecognized, and I have the utmost respect for those who wear the badge with integrity and honor. As always, our duty as elected officials is to serve the people of New Bedford, and I remain committed to ensuring that public trust in all of our institutions remains strong. State Representative Antonio Cabral, in an emailed statement, said, "The recent report in the Boston Globe regarding the New Bedford Police Department are deeply concerning. While this is a local matter, it highlights the broader need for stronger oversight and accountability. I hope the city and the police department take swift action to address these concerns." State Senator Mark Montigny declined to comment, with a spokesperson referring to the city and police department. State Representative Chris Markey and City Councilor Ryan Pereira said they would not comment on the findings until the rest of the series is out. City Councilor Linda Murad declined comment. State Representative Chris Hendricks and City Councilors Maria Gista, Derek Baptiste, Sean Oliver, Brian Gomes, who leads the Council's Public Safety Committee, Naomi Carney, Ian Abreu, Joseph Lopez, and Leo Choka did not respond to requests for comment. Long-standing issues with discipline and internal investigations. The Internal Affairs Division, also called the Professional Standards Unit, is responsible for investigating officers who have complaints of alleged misconduct filed against them by citizens or fellow officers. In many cases, this unit is the first barrier that should address and prevent further misconduct. Oliveira once led the unit. Now it's headed by Candido Trinidad. The Globe reported that Trinidad provided an implausible story to investigators who were looking into Santos's serious misconduct, with the implication that he was protecting Santos. At the time, both worked in the Marine unit, with Trinidad serving as supervisor. "There should be an unblemished person that goes in there," said a current officer. Oliveira put Trinidad in charge of the Integrity Unit. The Light contacted Trinidad by phone and text for comment on Wednesday. He did not respond. The actions of the Internal Affairs Unit, which are approved or amended by the chief or by deputy chief, can have a marked impact on an officer's future. In the most extreme cases, internal affairs investigations can lead to termination or decertification by the state police oversight body, meaning an officer can no longer serve in Massachusetts. A common refrain expressed by New Bedford officers has been that discipline depends on who you are and who you know in the department. The Light previously reported, and that discipline meted out by leadership is inconsistent. The Globe lays out a picture that Alvera and others turned a blind eye to some misconduct. There is a sense in the department that when officers are found to have committed an offense, the discipline provided depends on whom the officer knows in the department, particularly the command staff, read Jensen Hughes' report. The consultant report recommended in 2023 that Alvera developed a disciplinary matrix to ensure disciplinary actions are fair and consistent for everyone. Hooten, department spokesperson, confirmed this week that the department still does not have a matrix. She said conversations are still being had with the union to develop one. Two officers who spoke with the Light said many union members support and want a matrix. The article goes on to describe the city and warnings that Judith Keating, who sent a strongly worded email to Alvera in 2023. In it, she took Alvera to task over his alleged inaction in disciplining dispatchers. The article will end with, Chief Alvera is sowing the seeds to grow an organizational culture in the department that will make it effective in maintaining the safety of our residents and commanding their trust for years to come, Mitchell said. I ask you to join me in saluting the chief for not resting on his laurels and doing what is necessary to set the department up well in the long term. The hub opens its arms for South Coast rail riders. Whether you're off to see a Red Sox game or a museum, a doctor's appointment, or Logan Airport, here's a guide to get there from South Station. By Grace Ferguson, March 18th, 2025. Welcome to Boston. You've just arrived at South Station after a smooth 95-minute ride on the MBTA's New Fall River, New Bedford line. You made it to Boston, the state's capital city, the home of legendary sports teams, the cradle of the American Revolution, a bustling hub of arts and culture. Now what? South Station will be your gateway to the city when South Coast Rail starts up on March 24. It is the terminus for all Southern MBTA commuter rail lines, but it isn't a walkable distance from all of the best destinations Boston has to offer. This guide will show you where you can go from South Station and how to get there. If Boston isn't your final destination, Logan Airport. The Silver Line bus SL1 route goes between South Station and the airport, stopping at every terminal. You'll need to pay and buy a $2.40 Charlie ticket from the ticket kiosk at South Station to get to the airport, but the bus is free to ride on the way back from the airport. North Station. The transit hub is the origin for MBTA commuter rail lines to the north and northwest. It is also where you can catch Amtrak's Downeaster headed for Brunswick, Maine. From South Station, take the Red Line toward Alewife. Then you can get off at Downtown Crossing and take the Orange Line toward Oak Grove, or you can get off at Park Street and take the Green Line toward Medford, Tufts, or Union Square. Both the Orange and Green Lines stop at North Station. Alternately, you can make the transfer on foot if you're up for a 1-mile walk. Just head north along Congress and Canal Street. Museum and attractions. The New Bedford Free Public Library offers free passes to cardholders that get you into the Boston Children's Museum, the Museum of Fine Arts, the Museum of Science, and the New England Aquarium. You can reserve them on the library's Culture Pass website. The Boston Children's Museum, 308 Congress Street, Boston, Mass. This museum has exhibits where children can play and learn. It's open Wednesday through Sunday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., though it doesn't open till 10 a.m. on the first Saturday of each month. Admission is $22 for adults and children, and free for babies under 12 months old. It's just a short walk from South Station. Go west on Summer Street, then turn left and walk 1 block north of Dorchester Avenue. Turn right to cross Congress Street Bridge. You should see a 40-foot milk bottle. The museum is right behind it. The Museum of Fine Arts, 465 Huntington Ave. Boston's largest art museum has a sprawling collection of works from 6 continents, ranging from ancient Egyptian artifacts to early American paintings to innovative modern art exhibits. It's open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, except Tuesdays. General admission is $27 for adults, $10 for children ages 7 to 17, and free for children 6 years old and under. The simplest way to get there from South Station is by hopping on another commuter rail trail. Take any outbound train on the Worcester, Needham, or Providence-Stoughton lines and get off at Ruggles. Walk north along Forsyth Street. When you reach Huntington Avenue, cross to the north side of the street and walk a couple of blocks west to the museum. The Museum of Science, 1 Science Park, Boston, Mass. You will find interactive exhibits, more than 50 species of animals, and an IMAX dome theater at this museum on the Charles River. It's open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Admission is $31 for adults, $26 for children ages 3 to 11, $27 for seniors over age 60, and free for children under 3. Take the red line toward Alewife and get off at Park Street. Then transfer to a green line toward Medford, Tufts, or Union Square. Get off at Science Park, West End. When you leave the station, head northeast on Charles River Dam Road. The museum is on the south side of the street. The New England Aquarium. Penguins, sea turtles, and sea lions call this aquarium home. It's open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on weekends. Tickets are $39 for adults, $30 for children ages 3 to 11, $37 for seniors 60 and over, and free for children aged 2 and under, excluding some blackout dates, including weekends and holidays between Memorial Day and Labor Day. New England residents qualify for a $5 discount per ticket. The aquarium is less than a 15-minute walk from South Station. Head northeast on Atlantic Ave and turn right at Milk Street. The Freedom Trail. This iconic 2.5-mile walking path shows off historic landmarks from the American Revolution. Sites include the State House, the Old South Meeting House, the Paul Revere House, the Boston Massacre Site, and the Bunker Hill Monument. There are plenty of guided tours available at various price points, but you can walk the path on your own. The National Park Service offers a free, self-guided audio tour on its app. Some sites charge admissions to get inside. The official starting point is at the Boston Common Visitor Information Center. Take the red line toward Alewife and get off at Park Street. The Visitor Center is just downhill. From there, follow the red brick line in the sidewalk. Fenway Park, 4 Jersey Street, Boston. See the Red Sox play at their home ballpark. The stadium will also host concerts featuring Shakira, Hoosier, the Lumineers, and My Chemical Romance this year. Take the red line toward Alewife and get off at Park Street. Then take any westbound Green Line train except the E line toward Heath Street. The E line branches off in a different direction. Get off at Kenmore and follow signs in the station for Fenway Park. When you leave the station, turn left onto Commonwealth Ave and then turn left again to head up Brookline Avenue. You should be able to see the park as you cross the bridge over the Massachusetts Turnpike. TD Garden, 100 Legends Way. Catch a Celtics or Bruins game at this busy arena or see a concert. Tyler, the Creator, Katy Perry, and Dua Lipa will perform there this year. South Coast Rail opens just in time for the ISU World Figure Skating Championships at TD Garden from March 26th to March 30th. The arena is right above North Station, so see our directions at the top of this guide. Healthcare. Massachusetts General Hospital. This Harvard-affiliated hospital provides care in virtually every specialty and subspecialty of medicine and surgery. Take the red line toward Alewife and get off at Charles MGH. The hospital campus is located across the street to the north of the station. Longwood Medical Area. This medical campus has locations for Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, Boston Children's Hospital, Brigham and Women's Hospital, and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Take the red line toward Alewife and get off at Park Street. Transfer to the green line, either a D line toward Riverside or an E line toward Heath Street, depending on which part of the medical campus you're going to. If you're heading to a building on the east side, take the E line and get off at Longwood Medical Area. Then walk on Longwood Avenue past the Massachusetts College of Art and Design. If your destination is on the south side of the campus, take the E line and get off at the Brigham Circle. If you're going on the west side of campus, take the D line and get off at Longwood and head south on Chapel Street and turn left on Longwood Avenue. You'll reach the campus in 4 blocks.